There's a young woman named Sierra who thinks I'm Natalie and Alicia's dad. I don't know why, but I am about to call her and see what's up. And I suppose I should probably let you know the scoop on this. um, the conversation starts off. She sent me a friend request. She typed hello. I typed hello. She typed hey. I typed hello. How may I help you? Who are you? Where would I know you from? She typed hi. I am a friend of both your daughters since high school in Broomfield. You've seen me a few times. You're an artist, right? I don't have any kids. But I wanted to know what this woman was about. I typed, what are my daughter's names? I have had a ton of death threats from people who with fake profiles. Just want to make sure you were telling the truth. And I am an artist. She typed Natalie and Alicia. I went to Broomfield High School with both of them. I helped them with schoolwork like math and science. Work on me and draw me something up. Is it okay if I call? I typed, is it okay if I call you? Really, I'd like to explain to this woman what's actually going on. She typed, no, I'm getting ready with my wife, but I can let you know when I am done so we can talk. Sound good? I typed, yes, ma'am, thank you. She gave me a thumbs up. I typed, you never got back to me. This was this morning. I typed this. She typed, sorry, I don't call on the phone much, but if you really want, you can call and talk to me. But I have no reason to lie about who I am. I know you're skeptical given everything that has happened over the last year or two. Yeah, Ted Bollinger belongs in prison, and thank goodness, looks like he's gonna go. Um, she typed, but I am who I say I am. I can meet you in person. I actually have seen you at Walgreens off 64th and Sheridan, and I told you I liked your hoodie. I typed, give me 5 minutes and I will call. Is that okay with you? And then it says, Sierra missed my call. I'll click back over to this. She thinks I'm someone I'm not. Fact is, I don't want to be confused with Ted Bollinger. I don't want to be confused with a child molester, especially one who would put my loved ones at risk in the way that he did. No matter how pissed off I am at Alicia, pretty stupid. She's not a very intelligent human being. Knowing what that man did, getting into a vehicle with that man, well, Alicia needs a lot more help, even than I do. And this woman says that she still talks to Alicia. So I'm going to let her know straight up that I'm not Alicia's dad. I could never be Alicia's dad. Now, as far as liking my hoodie on 64th and Sheridan, I kind of remember a situation like that. That's not to say that this is the same Walgreens or that it was on 64th and Sheridan or anything of that nature. But this woman might have me confused with someone else, and Natalie and Alicia might have lied and said that I was their dad. So I want to get the scoop on that. I know at one point in time, Natalie and Alicia, well, they spent a lot of time down on Pearl Street, and they spent a lot of time at the Boulder Public Library. If you guys listen to the conversation between me and Maddie, or between me and Mandy Singer, then you know about all the drugs down there by the Boulder Public Library. That's been ongoing for years. And yes, the police do know about it, and no, the police don't do anything about it. When they go down there, they ignore all of the meth dealers, ignore them straight up, allow them to do what they're doing. Out in the open, these people are shooting up, and that's not anything new. At the same time, I mean, it's just getting worse. And these are people that I do genuinely care about, no matter how much they did fucked up shit. There's still people that I care about. At the same time, if I'm going to be treated like one of them, well, I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say something about it because they're not being treated that way. Well, I get treated like I'm Ted Bollinger. Ted Bollinger doesn't get treated like he should. He doesn't get treated the way that I do for the things that he did. He actually did. Now, on this YouTube channel, we've heard from Samantha D. We've heard from Bobby Forrest. It's pretty obvious I've been telling the truth. The problem is, nobody wanted to listen because of the slander. Now, even with my friend Todd, he's friends with Ted Bollinger. He is friends with that child molesting fuck. Not just a child molester, that sick piece of shit molested its own fucking daughter. Daughters, sorry. Getting verification from Bobby Forrest and also from Samantha Daniels, you know, that's a pretty big thing. They don't want their shit all over. I get that. They should have thought about that. They should have thought, hey, you know, if I don't come forward, this dude is going to continue to speak out. If I don't do the right thing, this guy is going to continue to speak out. I had a guy send me a recipe for napalm. It's not a very good recipe for napalm, and I let him know that I have better recipes. I also let him know that if it gets to the point where there's violence, I'm going to be patching up the wounded. That's what I'll be doing. Fuck this goddamn country. Fuck the police and fuck the Bollingers. Just because I care about you doesn't mean you're not a piece of shit. And I mean that. Tonight I talked to a lady who I knew for a lot of years. And I don't know her well, but I know her family pretty well. And she wanted to give me a whole speech. Of course, she's been drinking. People who've been drinking, they don't hear a thing that you have to say. The more they drink, the stupider they are. And the more assured that they are that they're right. The dumber somebody is, the more they think they're right. Now, a lot of people tell me that the way that I see the world is because I'm autistic. No, it's because I analyze everything. I already knew what was going to happen with that situation in Virginia. I'm pretty good at reading people. But as far as manipulating people, shit. Self my enemy by your decisions. Now, I still pray. I just don't pray to God. I don't pray to Jesus. But I do pray. My prayers are a lot closer to the Hebrew prayers than they are to the Christian prayers, because the first thing I pray for is my enemies. I pray for my enemies before I pray for myself, and I pray that they not be my enemies. Ted Bollinger is a piece of shit. And a lot of people, when their loved ones die, they have support in person. I didn't get that at any of these places that I went. What I got was people and their assumptions telling me how to think and how to feel. I'm not allowed to feel the way that I feel, but they're allowed to feel that way when they lose a loved one. Now, this Sierra lady, after typing that stuff, she showed that it was bullshit by not even looking at the reply. I'd like to believe her, I really would. But at the same time, I'm not exactly going to type to her that I'm not Natalie and Alicia's dad. She made that assumption. And I will correct it if she'll talk to me. I don't believe in keeping secrets of that nature. However, this woman is also friends with Todd Ryan Case, who I spoke with the other day, and you got to hear his conversation with me. The thing is, there are a lot of really bad people in this world. A lot of them. If good people work together as hard as hateful people, we'd be living in a better world. Like Tony was saying in our conversation earlier today, he's afraid, and rightfully so. He obviously wants to leave the country, and rightfully so. The situation here as it stands is that a lot of people didn't do their jobs. A lot of people didn't do their jobs. And they wanted to abuse the system, like Tony was talking about with you got to play the game. Well, fuck that. Fuck playing a goddamn game. These are human lives, you pieces of shit. Are you not getting that? These are actual human lives. If my life doesn't matter, then you do need to kill me. Don't fucking threaten me like a little bitch and not follow through. I'm trying to put all these people in prison. And I mean that. Now, if they were to tell the truth, I wouldn't want them in prison. But if you're going to lie and you're going to destroy lives by doing so, then yes, absolutely. You don't belong any part of a free society. We don't have a free society because of people like this. Because of people who have no consequences for their slander, for destroying other people's lives. Now, it would be easy for me through all of this. I could have spent that money that I was getting from disability to go kill people. I could have. Instead, I spent it all trying to fight this shit in court and just going to court. I mean, I didn't even get to fight it. That's the fucking issue with you goddamn pieces of shit. You want to tell me how to think and feel. You want to get drunk. You want to pretend like I had the same opportunities as you. You want to compare me to you when the lady I was talking to tonight, she's got a business here in town. And she was asking me about my work. I said, well, I worked for your dad for 6 years. She said, you didn't work for him. He may have gave you money, but you weren't on the payroll. That's the point there. You want to pretend that I didn't do any work now. You want to pretend that because I wasn't earning $2,000 per month on salary that I wasn't doing any work. The fact is, once your brothers got onto that salary of $2,000 per month, they didn't want to work. They didn't want to do any extra hours, so I did. They didn't want to do the sewer stuff, so I did. They didn't want to go on anything after hours, so I did. Your brothers got more money for doing less work, and I was glad that gave me more work to do for $7.50 an hour. And I was glad for it. It wasn't enough to live on, certainly not enough to live on in this town. And this town is cheaper than most. And while your brothers wouldn't go to work, while they were glad that they were getting paid $2,000 a month on salary, and they were living in a house, had a roof over their head. I was living under the railroad tracks here, or out at Chapel Lake, or in the weight room over there, busting my ass. I mean, we're not talking about kids' work. We're talking about these people cut trees for a living. I mean, here I am taking big, huge logs, throwing them in a bucket. And, we're not talking like a 5-gallon bucket. This is a bucket on a skid loader. We load up the skid loader and then it gets dumped. And then on the weekends, I'd go over there and we would use the log splitter and we would split wood. After we're done splitting wood, I'd go over to Jeff's and I'd split more wood. Or I would help Jeff with his yard. We made cement henge over there one year. There was a bunch of cement chunks that Jeff had in his yard. And he didn't want them there. It was just unsightly. It was from something that had been torn down years earlier, and it was just sitting there looking ugly. So we made something beautiful out of it. Now, this woman, she's got kids, and she doesn't mooch off the system, but she's also got a good head start right from the get-go. She's got family support. And that's not something that she factors in at all. But also, when I was talking to her earlier, she had been drinking. When they needed a cosigner, their parents co-signed for them. For me, I didn't have a cosigner, so I wasn't able to get a bank loan. So I was basically stuck with what I had, which is, well, I mean, she went off on that for about 10 minutes about me not having an ID. You don't have 20 bucks for an ID? You don't have 20 bucks for an ID? Like, holy fuck, lady. If my kids, fuck your kids. I know your kids. And I think they're great. I really do. I mean, your son was a fucking asshole for years and years. He's probably still an asshole, but he's a lot nicer than he used to be. But at the same time, out of everybody in her family, she's the one who knows me the least. She's the one who spent the least amount of time with me. I never once worked with her, ever. I've worked with all of her brothers. I have helped all of her brothers on so many occasions. Every one of them, when they needed help on their houses, they came and got me. Her nephews, too. Sean, I need help over at the house. And yeah, I showed up and I helped. And some of those occasions I was supposed to get paid and didn't. And I get to hear, oh, well, I got kids. I know. I know you do. There's another lady that wants to tell me about mooching, about how she's got kids and so on and so forth, and how she shouldn't have to pay taxes to support mooches. Meanwhile, she's getting money. She gets food stamps. She gets government subsidies to help keep a roof over her head. Meanwhile, why is this? It's because she's got kids. Now, I don't mind. I don't. When I worked and I paid my taxes. I didn't mind that my taxes were going to help pay for people's kids. But also, I didn't get her pregnant. I didn't get any of these people pregnant. Any of them. We're paying for women who got pregnant. It's not our fault that they got pregnant, is it? How many women have you gotten pregnant? You should be responsible for those kids. You, not me. But despite that, I have been responsible for many people's children because they weren't manning up. And I mean that for many mothers as well. I didn't get you pregnant. You think that I owe you because you got kids. You didn't keep your word because you got kids, but you want my help because you got kids. You think that you are entitled to that because you got kids. I get that. I really do. Now, this lady down here that was talking to me tonight while she was drinking, she, her kids with, they worked together to pay for the household bills. Worked together. And we live in a system now where if you're starting off, you need 3 jobs, 3 full-time jobs to keep a roof over your head. How is anybody going to be able to do that just starting off? 3 full-time jobs to do that. Meanwhile, she's got her own business in town. She's had plenty of help from her family. Now, there's different types of help. You've got the help where you guys work together, and that's not help, that's working together. Then you've got the help where you're able to use somebody else's name for your benefit, and she got that help too. You've also got the help where, well, it's not actually help. It's just prolonging. See, if you're $100 from losing all of your stuff, and you are able to get someone to help you out with that $100 so that you can keep your stuff, so that you can keep your roof, you can keep your vehicle, that's great. But if you don't have those things to begin with, it's 10 times harder to get it. And once you lose those things, it's 10 times harder to get it back. When I got out of jail in or in November of 2018, you know, the difference between me getting my vehicle back with the evidence in it and being able to comply with the illegal orders that I had to follow and having to leave state, it came down to $100. $100 was the difference between the two. Now, this lady here, if she needed $100, she could ask her dad and he'd give it to her straight up. Here's $100. But then, if he hadn't given her that $100 and she lost everything and had to start from scratch, which she has never had to do, but if she did have to do that, start off with absolutely nothing, just getting another vehicle is going to cost her. If she buys $100 vehicle that probably isn't going to last long, you're talking about $400 before you can even drive it legally. Start. And you say it's not a race, but at the same time, you're going to judge somebody harshly because they're not at the same place that you are. Meanwhile, you had plenty of people who worked together with you. And you want to say, oh, well, you know, I don't make excuses. I don't. Bullshit, you don't make excuses. I've heard you make excuses. I've heard you make many excuses. Excuses why you deserve it and other people's don't. But then again, I'm not worth listening to. I listen to you and your bullshit. Now, this lady, she offered me enough money to get my ID, which is nice, but she's not going to do it. She's offered stuff like that before, and she has never followed through. At the same time, does she owe me the money to get an ID? No, she doesn't. There's another lady who offered to give me the money to get an ID, and she lives in Alabama. And when she is not sick anymore, I might take her up on it. But also, the fact is, we could help each other, the mutual benefit thing. Whereas if it's not mutual benefit, people will throw it in your face. They will throw it in your face that the help that you didn't need, that they wanted to give you, didn't work. Or they will throw it in your face that they gave you that. Don't take it. Don't take it. If you're drowning and that log that somebody throws you is going to keep your head above water so you don't drown, keep in mind if they're standing on the log kicking you in the face, yeah, that log's not worth it. You might as well drown.